Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm Lindsay Mitchell, and my intention with this video is to make brain retraining lighthearted, simple, and really easy to understand. So many websites and programs out there can make brain retraining sound mysterious, intimidating, or rigid. And I want to break that thought right here, right now. So take a moment right now and gently shake out your body. Shake out your hands, your arms, your head a little bit. Move any excess stress or preconceived notions that you have about brain retraining, and you can move them a little bit faster or simply slowly move your body. Now put your hand on your belly and one hand on your heart. And let's inhale for 5 seconds. And exhale out the mouth for 5 seconds, making a shh sound. Inhaling in and exhaling out, making a shh sound. Do that one more time. And at the end of that third breath, close your eyes and repeat after me. Today I choose me. Today I choose me. Today I choose me. And smile. In Vital Side, this is what we call a state changer. Something to break whatever state you initially started out with. And this is an example of brain retraining in real time. So brain retraining simply means becoming aware of how your body and brain are reacting and gently shifting the way that they communicate intentionally, making changes that benefit you. That said, it's more than just breathing techniques or taking a bubble bath. It does require some structure and dedication, and that's what we're going to get into today. This video is filled with questions that you have asked me. The most frequently asked questions that I receive in Vital Side are talked about in this video. So if you're interested in the basics of brain retraining, or you really want to learn more about the Vital Side process and protocols, stay tuned. And stay until the end, because we have a special offer we'll be giving to you, and I want to make sure that you receive it, because today you are choosing you. Let's start with the basics of brain retraining. Again, all of the information that I talk about here today is not based on things that I just want you to know. It's based on direct questions that you have asked me recently. I love talking with my audience, and I love getting engaged with y'all, answering questions that you have to provide some clarity around what brain retraining is, so that you can truly decide if this is something that's going to be the next step in your own healing journey. Let's start out with neuroplasticity versus nervous system regulation versus brain retraining. And let's define some of these key trendy terms that you've likely read about on a blog post or saw on a reel. Neuroplasticity is a concept. It means that the brain can change. And this has been proven over the last 3 decades with modern technology that allows us to see changes to our brains in real time. This is good news because if you're stuck in a habit or you are replaying a particularly sticky belief in your head that's hard to shake, the concept of neuroplasticity means that you can break this habit. You can break old patterns, old belief systems, and even how you physically feel today. Nervous system regulation is a process that allows us to practice neuroplasticity in real time. So it's a term used when we recognize that we're in a state of dysregulation. This can be evident when we react easily, so we can feel an intensity in the moment, maybe a warm sensation or rising anxiety. It can be physical, like our hearts beating fast, or needing to take a moment of reprieve by yourself because you feel so stressed out in the moment and you can't even seem to catch your breath. Dysregulation can show up in very physical symptoms or even in a chronic illness. Symptoms like dizziness, sensitivities, and pain. And we'll talk more about this later on. But it's also important to note that you don't have to have a chronic illness to start regulating your nervous system or even notice dysregulation. Often it's important to use these tools when you start to notice a dysregulated nervous system, that increased vigilance or heated reactions or increased emotions to situations that seem mundane. It's better that you start using the protocols now to feel better, make feeling good a habit, and boost your immune system. Brain retraining is a form of nervous system regulation. And my definition of brain retraining includes the top-down approach, meaning we can use our minds to make changes to our bodies, plus the bottom-up approach. And this means we use our bodies or somatics and things like movement to make changes to the way that we think and the way that we feel. Now, today, if the concept of brain retraining seems really scary to you or ominous, I want you to know that this is very normal. Our brains don't like things that are new and different, even things that aren't great for us. So our brains would rather have us get stuck in a habit that doesn't make us feel good than do something entirely different that does make us feel good. Awareness of this comfort pattern that we gravitate towards is the key to success in brain retraining and will keep you committed to the process. As you'll find out later on, in Vital Side, our goal isn't to force us to think about things or do things in a different way. It's to model to ourselves and our nervous systems a new way of being through gentle protocols. Retrainers in Vital Side recognize that they are operating in a dysregulated state, and this isn't your fault. It's a physiological state of being, meaning that the body is in a state of survival and protection. When we learn to actively complete the stress cycle, then break the pattern of stress, inflammation decreases, our bodies respond differently, and we return to a more regulated state, our natural state or a state of resilience. This is a state of homeostasis where we can start to easily communicate, socialize, and feel joy in our lives. In this state, we also promote health and healing and set our bodies up for ultimate repair. In vital side, we recognize the body is responding from a place of fight. And you can recognize this with anxiety, like stress or panic, flight. This can be sensitivities, pain or fear. Freeze. You can notice this in dissociation, fatigue, or brain fog. Fawn, which is people-pleasing tendencies, having to say yes to everything, or any other survival response that you experience. We naturally tap into our survival responses when we perceive that there is a threat in our environment. This can be a real threat or a perceived threat. And for many of us, we start to live each day internally like we're battling a war. And even if you know the science behind what's going on physiologically, you need to use daily protocols to shift out of the stress response and communicate a new way of being. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, this isn't natural to everyone. And that's why I created Vital Side, daily structured protocols to break this stress response. So how do you compare your physical symptoms to a dysregulated nervous system? In short, you don't have to. Physical symptoms can present themselves because of a dysregulated nervous system, and a dysregulated nervous system can be apparent because of a virus, a bacterial infection, or psychological trauma that has occurred. So I'm not here to make a medical diagnosis. There are plenty of practitioners that do that. And it's likely you're here because you want to take healing into your own hands and start to feel better, no matter where you're at in the diagnosis process. You can use these protocols in brain retraining through detox or through physical treatments. And in fact, pairing the two can even increase the efficacy of each one. I work with practitioners all over the world because they know that the nervous system is often the missing piece for their patients to make a full recovery, and brain retraining is the process that they need. This is because the brain is always communicating with the body, and you can't make a change to the body without making a change to the brain and vice versa. So when we improve that communication through the process of brain retraining, that's when we can decrease inflammation and we can watch the body begin to support itself again. So what we're doing in brain retraining is allowing our physical bodies to be set up for success. Now, if you are currently experiencing an ongoing trauma, I urge you to seek physical safety as soon as possible. Meaning, if you're living with a traumatic event in your life or any big T trauma, please know that there are resources for you. And I've listed a couple resources down below. If you are no longer living in a life-threatening event or situation, but your body is still reacting like you are, brain retraining may be the next step for you as you begin to calm the stress response. Now, before you start brain retraining, it can feel like it's something that you just have to do, right? Another thing to add to your to-do list. In the past, you may have caught yourself saying things like, I should sit down and meditate every day. I should go to yoga. I should drink that green juice. We should ourselves all the time. And if you have this fear of making brain retraining another to-do, I want you to know from the start, brain retraining is not something that you have to do. It's something that you get to do to see massive transformation in your life. There are ways to make it fun and exciting and personalized to your needs. So there are ways to break away from having it be an obligation and actually incentivizing yourself to practice. And we go through that in the program. But when you start using these tools daily, even in small amounts, 1% changes every day, you'll be incentivized to use the tools again and again because you'll start to see slow and steady progress. So eventually you get excited about using the protocols because you have noticed that evidence for change in your life. Now in Vital Side, we don't just go through the education of how the brain changes. We talk about the structure and we provide an approach that gives you protocols to use every day with structure without that rigidity. So we'll get into specifics of this later, but really my intention is to make the protocols individualized for you and fit your needs. Now, if you're familiar with other healing or therapeutic modalities like EMDR, brain spotting, or another trauma processing tool, it's important to point out that Vital Side is not a trauma processing course. And I know many brain retraining programs that pair trauma processing with brain retraining. In my experience, it's better to really focus on one at a time. So in Vital Side, we focus specifically on your physiological stress response and ways to diminish this response to start to see changes to your life. And if you are familiar with therapeutic modalities like somatic work, mindfulness, cognitive behavioral therapy, or other forms of psychotherapy, the tools we teach in Vital Side are different because we're focused on the how to break the stress cycle again and again and again. And then we collect evidence for change to create more homeostasis in your body and confidence in your emotions and the way that you're thinking, the way that you feel, so that in the future you can process trauma, which is really important for every single human to do. So you can think of brain retraining as a stepping stone for addressing other things in your life, like trauma processing. First, we see that transformation to the nervous system. We create more adaptability and capability, which makes you more able in your life to be fully immersed in your life and to do things like process trauma in the future. So let's talk about Vital Side specifically. I know many of you have really basic questions like, how do I get started? And what's the process like? Before I go through this with you, I want you to know that we have a handful of different memberships available to you. So below, I have listed out a list of conditions that I've worked with before and how I've seen improvements with these different conditions. And I also have linked success stories so that you can hear from other people who have gone through the process of brain retraining in Vital Side and seen absolute transformation to their lives. You may have also been familiar with my story, recovering from Lyme disease. And so many people have the question of, well, how do I do it if it's just brain retraining? The brain is always communicating with your body. So you're setting your physical body up for success to make changes to your immune system, the way that you detox, the way that you express your genes, and the way that you feel. So you can actually support your body enough for your natural bodily processes to kick in and fight infections easily. And that's why I don't live with Lyme today, and many people who have gone through brain retraining have seen massive transformations to the way that they feel, their symptoms, but also their lab work. Now, physical symptoms typically change, and then you can see changes to your lab work later on. Everyone is different in the way that they heal and how long it takes them to recover. So you are unique in that process. Now, if you are an experienced brain retrainer and you want more information on how to improve visualizations, how to reinvigorate your practice, or you want information on how to connect with a community of retrainers who have made brain retraining a lifestyle, I have options for you, and you can refer to the links below for more advanced brain retrainers. Now, if you don't have a chronic illness, there's also links listed for you below that can help you start calming the chronic stress response today, despite not having that specific diagnosis. Now, I am going to go through some more information with you on Vital Side's program, Rewire. This is a Vital Side membership designed for people with chronic symptoms or illnesses who are looking to see massive transformation in their lives. You can find more information on Rewire using the links below and signing up to become a member. Rewire, in particular, is for people with chronic symptoms like anxiety, health anxiety, constant and continual monkey mind, obsessive thoughts or rumination, brain fog, phobias, dizziness, food and chemical sensitivities, and very physical symptoms like headaches or pain. It's also for people with chronic illnesses, syndromes related to chronic pain, chronic infections like Lyme disease, post-viral syndromes like long COVID, MCAS, POTS, adrenal fatigue, and conditions related to inflammatory gut issues like IBS, or hormonal issues, or even endocrine or reproductive issues. Again, I have a longer list of these conditions that I've worked with below. And if you ever have specific questions on how to work with me based on your specific unique condition, you can schedule a Q&A with me before you purchase the program to see if Vital Side can work for you. And again, there's a link below for that. What you can focus on is your body in a hyper-inflamed state? We can experience this after we've gone through a trauma, after we've dealt with cancer, after we've received a diagnosis. So in Vital Side, we work to decrease that inflammation and connect with our natural resilience once again. In Vital Side, we go through 3 core concepts. Number 1 is awareness. Awareness of your survival responses. So this requires education around these responses and ways to identify these responses. Number 2, we go through acceptance of these survival responses, learning that they're not bad and learning to show up in a more gentle and supportive way to support ourselves. This includes understanding and breaking the habit of old belief systems. For example, recognizing that catastrophizing things in my life is a form of protection, learning to become aware of this, accept this, and step 3, which is take action. Throughout the course, I teach a series of state changers that you can complete throughout the day when you experience a symptom, and a longer structured protocol called the Vital Side Steps, which you'll be completing each day for a minimum of 6 months. Now, how much you spend each day committed to these tools is up to you. Starting out the program, you can watch the videos 5 minutes a day if that's what you can commit time to right now. Then you slowly make your way up to increasing the amount of time. That can look like 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, up to an hour. And I typically don't recommend more than an hour. The video course itself will take about 2 weeks to complete. That is, if you're spending about an hour every other day, committing time to watching the videos, and then time in between to work through the structured steps that I'll go through with you in between days. That said, you can absolutely take your sweet time. If you are EMF sensitive, you don't actually need to have the video in front of you. You can listen to the material through a sound system instead, and commit to 5 minutes a day of having the guidebook out in front of you and listening to the material. So I've worked with people who started with 5 minutes of video watching a day, and that works for them. So in Vital Side, we really encourage individuality. You are unique in the way that you process information. And a lot of times, if we have that fear of starting with 5 minutes a day can be a helpful way to start to create that habit of 1% changes daily. After learning the information in the video course, you'll leave with tools that you'll be committing time to each day for a minimum of 6 months. The Vital Side steps take about 15 minutes to complete, around. And state changers can be scheduled throughout the day. They take anywhere from 30 seconds to 5 minutes to complete. You can use 3 a day, 5 a day. I've had people use 50 a day. This is outlined in the course for you, but you are also in the driver's seat of your brain retraining journey, so you get to choose and you get to decide. One of the things that makes Vital Side different from other programs is our take on brain retraining. I think of it as a lifestyle rather than an obligatory, isolated practice. For example, if you've tried everything before but nothing seems to stick, or you're a busy parent, or you have a full-time job, you can break your tools into 5 minutes spread throughout the day. 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. We recognize that you are unique, and we talk about how to individualize the tools throughout the course. A rule of thumb is committing to spending about 20 minutes a day for a minimum of 6 months committed to using the Vital Side tools as a starting point. But we also recognize that brain retraining is not an overnight fix. And I have worked with people who have had symptoms dissipate overnight within 3 days of starting Rewire. But it takes a lot longer than 3 days to make changes to neural networks in the brain. And that's what we're doing here. We're committing time to simple daily exercises that create new signals to the brain through neural connections. And ultimately, we're rewiring full neural networks. And that's why if you've tried other things that just haven't worked for you, it's breaking it down into smaller bite-sized pieces and staying committed to it that's likely the missing piece. That's why I ask for a minimum of 6 months of commitment to using these tools daily. Now, if that puts you off, take a moment to recognize all the time it took for you to get to this place where you are today, where your brain feels stuck and you're symptomatic and you're sick. We need to allow ourselves time to unravel these neural pathways that have been created and break the habit again and again and again, communicating a new response from our brains to our body and our body to our brains. In addition to the video program, you'll be receiving information throughout the course in the form of a guidebook. That's a PDF document that you can print out right away. Audios that you'll be listening to that are listed in your course. A private forum that you'll partake in, where you can talk with hundreds of thousands of brain retrainers all over the world. Access to a month free of group sessions that meet once a week, and you'll have access to all those recordings as well. And direct messaging with myself or even other VitalSide facilitators. And that's available to you whenever you'd like. We encourage you to learn the information at your own pace, on your own time. But you can rely on us for added accountability. Group sessions allow us to encourage each other and inspire one another as we continue this brain retraining and healing journey. And even if we want to continue our education, because many of us are seekers and want to learn more about neuroplasticity as we rewire our brains. Direct messaging allows you to personalize the information and make it work for you, so we are always available to answer your questions. And private sessions are available to you as an adjunct purchase. Now, this allows you to come to me with specific questions, and we can individualize the techniques, personalize the material, and really create a plan that is unique to you. Now, private sessions aren't required, and they aren't necessary to see a transformation to your health, but they are available if you need them and if you are that person who needs that added accountability. We also have plenty of resources for family and friends. So we recognize that you can only get so much support from us. And we want to include the people in your life who are closest to you so that they can learn to support you. We offer them a video and education on how to support you in Rewire. And if you have kiddos that you'd like to kind of teach some of this information to, or at least learn to integrate this information into the way that you parent or the way that you live your life, we also have information on how to do that. And we also have VitalSide facilitators who've used this information with their kids so they can assist you in how to personalize these tools and make it work for you and your family. Towards the end of the course, you'll learn how to introduce goals into your practice and train to achieve them. For example, you want to complete a more physical activity like going to a workout class. You want to eat the foods that you love again, or learn to drive again without that anxiety and with ease and flow. So, incremental progress on how to do this is a huge part of VitalSide. So we go through this in a step-by-step way so you can start measuring your progress and do the things that you love again. We go through this in detail so you don't force yourself to do these things, but you learn to do them with ease and grace. And if this is hard for you to do on your own, a mastermind session is available to you. And that's when I create a plan for you based on the goals that you want to set for yourself. So we go through that together in detail. The education and protocols listed in VitalSide help you to recognize the stress cycle and complete it. Then learn to break your habitual patterns of stress that show up in your body as symptoms or your mind as sticky beliefs. And ultimately, you learn to trust yourself and your body again and do the things that you love, feeling more connected and immersed in your life. Whether this process works for you or not depends on your commitment to using the tools daily and how you're showing up for you. The VitalSide team is always here to cheer you on and answer your questions as you move through the program. We always want to help you find a unique way of using the material that works for you and really resonates for you. And we want to keep you incentivized to come back to your practice again and again and again, so that this isn't an obligation, but this is something that helps you to progress in your healing journey. And that's what the team is here for. If you have questions about payment plans, please see the information listed here below and updates on that. And as far as discounts go, we do offer discounts every so often for people who are wanting to start these VitalSide memberships. And in fact, we have a discount for you today, and that is listed below. So find out more information about that discount and claim that today so you can start your Rewire membership. We would love to meet you. We would love to greet you and personalize this information for you as you get started with the process of rewiring your brain. Below, you'll find out more information about my story, success stories, and how to access that discount code today. Y'all, I am so happy to be here with you, to spend some time with you and get those questions answered. I can't wait to meet you and see you soon in VitalSide. Happy healing.